Hi, and welcome to another QwikTouchPro video. In this video we're going to pick up where we left off in the last video with our DataView here. And in that video we had created this inventory pop-up template which has our DataView on it called inventory list, and we'd had our big list of scrolling items from our tutor export. We have a macro on there, so when we touch this list we send the stock number of whatever item we touched out to keystroke, and then we hit a return to add that item to the sales invoice. So what we're going to do in this video is modify our standard 16 by 11 template a little bit. We're going to put, for example, a promo button on there that when we touch it is going to pull up this template and filter it to promotional items, which will enable us a quick way to pull up all our promotional items to add them to the invoice. So to get started, let's resize our data view. Let's make it the same size as our template. And we also want to go up under template properties. When we set this up initially, we said it was primary and full screen and all that, and we want to change some of this now. First of all, we don't want primary because we're going to display this over the top of our standard 16 by 11 template, which is already primary, and this is just a pop-up over the top of it. Instead of full screen, which you may want to do, which of course would cover up your entire 16 by 11 template, we're going to do ours in a window, and we want it to be, let's say, 75% the height of the screen. So we're going to lock the width and change the height to 75. And by locking the width, it's going to make it also 75%. It just means we don't have to, line up both these sliders every time. We can just worry about the width or the height, whichever one we know we want to size. So we're going to do 75% the height and also the width, and it's going to go in the center middle of the screen. So I think everything's good there. We'll say OK, and we'll save our template. So now we're ready to display this template from our standard 16 by 11. So we'll open up standard 16 by 11. Zoom in on it a little bit here, and let's start with our upper left hand corner key again, and we'll do promo. And what we're going to do is when we touch the promo item, we want to display our inventory pop-up window, and we want to filter by promotional items. So we'll right click, do macro editor. First thing we have to do is show the inventory pop-up window. That's under QwikTouchPro, show template. Template we want to display is inventory pop-up window. If template's already running, what do we want to do? Do nothing, which just means, kind of carry on. We'll add. Do we want to customize how this template's displayed? We do not, because when we set up our inventory pop-up template, we told it 75% the height of the screen. And if we decide that's not the number we want, like if it should be 80 or 60 or whatever, we can always go back, open up the inventory pop-up window, and do its template properties to adjust the size there. So instead of overriding it here, we're going to say no. And let's start there. We'll preview our template. So when we touch our promo button, we see our giant inventory pop-up of all 150 tutor items. A couple things we have to do here. We want to filter this down to promotional items, but before we can even do that, we need a way to close this template. Right now it's just kind of in the open, or in the way there. So let's go back into the editor. And we're going to go back into the pop-up window. And a couple of things we can do here, or a lot of things we can do, a couple of things we're going to do. We're going to resize this a little bit, and we're going to add a button up here in the upper right hand corner to close this template. And again, what I'm doing here, instead of creating a border and some text and grouping them and naming it, I'm just going to use a custom control that I've already created. We'll do gel button 1. And again, that's just a button that I've already created, so I don't have to go through all the grouping and effort and all of that stuff. It's going to be our exit button. We'll right click on it and choose macro editor. When we touch this button, we're going to go to QwikTouchPro, close template, add, and that means that when we touch this button, we're going to close this inventory pop-up window template. And exit's actually not a good name for that. It's more like close, because we're not exiting QwikTouch or anything. We'll just leave it blue for now. It's fine. Also notice that we opened up this space on the top, which is transparent, so we're going to see keystroke or whatever happens to be floating along behind that, which again may be what you want. For now, we will set a template background, and we'll just pick any other color here, should be fine, just for a little background on that. So now when we touch the close button, we'll close this template. We could also come in and say, after we've touched the bath oil button and we've added it to our invoice, let's close the template then, so we can get back to other keystroke stuff. And we do that through the macro editor. And we're already sending the stock number of the item they touched and then a return, and we just want to close the template. So QwikTouchPro, close template, add, and again close template meaning inventory pop-up window. And we'll hit close. We'll save that. So now two ways this will close: when they hit the close button or when they ring up an item. Go back to standard 16 by 11, preview our template again. And if we hit promo, you can see we can hit our close button to close that template. If we were to clerk in and ring up an item like a canvas bag, which we've already got a couple of. Let's clear this transaction. Go back into promo, and canvas bag. We can ring a ceramic mug, adds it to the invoice. So what do we want to do? Well, we still have all of our inventory items on the list, so now we're ready to filter this down to show only promotional items. Let's close our template, go back into the editor, and the way we're going to do that is also on our promotional items key. So we'll go back into the macro editor, and what we want to do is after we've shown the inventory pop-up window, we want to filter that inventory list that's on there to show only promotional items. And the way we do that is we set the target to DataView, because we're going to be filtering to DataView. The action is going to be set row filter. This is the data view we want to filter, and it's the inventory list, but it doesn't exist on this standard 16 by 11 template. It's on our inventory pop-up window, so we need to go out and import it. So we will import it from our inventory pop-up window. And now we've got all the fields that our inventory list knows about, and we need to set a filter of department equals PM for promo. And we're going to hit add. So we're going to touch the promo button, it's going to open up our inventory pop-up window, and then it's going to filter our pop-up window to show only promotional items. And the order does matter here. You can't filter the list until you've displayed it, so you need to show the template that has a list on it, and then you can filter the list for it. So we'll hit close. Let's just preview that and see how we're doing. And if we touch our promo button, you can see now we have a list of promotional items that we can ring up just by touching. And I don't know if you can tell it very well in the video, but what's also happening is the first time our pop-up shows up, we're seeing all 150 items, because that's what our pop-up window has on it, is 150 items. And then our promo button filters that down to promotional items. So we see this flash of all the items, and then it filters the list down to just the ones we want to see. And we can actually start that list out. Let's go into back into our editor. We can start out our data view here under Data Controls, Data View Properties. And we can set a default row filter on that to say, you know, when this template pops up initially, let's show no items at all, and then we'll add our promotional items to it. And that way we'll get rid of that flicker. So we just need to set a filter here that means we're going to return no items. In this case, we could say stock number equals -1, because we're never going to have a stock number with a -1. We'll say OK. And now you don't actually see that in the editor here. You have to preview the template. But if we preview the template now, you'll see there's no items on our list because we filtered them all off because they all have a stock number greater than -1. So we'll close that. We'll go back into our QwikTouchPro editor. Let's save this. And again, this is kind of a subtle thing, probably. But if we preview our template, now when we hit the promo item, the list starts out blank and adds items to it, which again might be subtle. I think it looks a little cleaner. Up to you. Anyway, we'll close our template. So the next thing we want to do is let's add a software button, an office button, and a liquor button. So clear our transaction while we're in here. Go back into our QwikTouchPro editor, and most of the work was done on our promo key. So let's just create a software key. Software. Oops, better spell software, right? And what do I want to? When we click on the software button, we want pretty much the same thing that happens with the promo button. We want to open up our inventory pop-up window. We want to filter our inventory list. The only change we want to make is instead of filtering for promotional items, we want to filter for software items. So let's copy the macro from the promo key. So right-click, choose copy, and we can right-click on software, paste macros, and now we can go in and do the macro editor on the software key. And because we've pasted the macros from the promo key in here, we have its open template pop-up and all that good stuff. And all we have to do now is click Set Row Filter, Edit Selected Action, and come in here, and we want to change our department, from promo items to software items. And we're going to choose Update there. And we'll close that. So now if we preview our template again, we should see that if we touch our software button, we get our big list of software items, well, a small list of software items. We could add Microsoft Excel to the item, to the sales invoice. We could touch promo, add a pocket knife. Also notice if we were to open the promo, we could touch the software button, which will also go out and filter that inventory list that we told it to. So you can kind of toggle back and forth as this thing's open. Close our menu again. So let's go ahead and create a couple more. Let's go back into the editor, and now we're going to do, let's do office supplies, and let's also do liquor. And do that again. We're going to copy the macro off the promo key as a starting point, so we'll choose copy. I'm going to select both the office and the liquor key, and I'm going to right click on them and choose paste macros, and that's going to paste the macros for both keys in here. So now we only need to right click on them, go into the macro editor, select set row filter, edit our action, and now we're changing it from promo items to office, which is OFF. And again, now we have to remember to hit update Notice our set row filter down here is still set to promotional items, and that doesn't change until you hit this update button. And once we click that, it changes over to Office, and now we can close the macro editor. Same thing with liquor. We'll right click on it, choose macro editor, and we want to go in and change the promo filter to liquor. So we'll highlight row filter, edit macro, and notice real quick while we're in here, the filter department. If you wanted to filter this to code or class or change it to something else, you could hit the drop down, but we don't see any of those options on our list anymore. That's because this inventory list is really just kind of a reference to that inventory list. So to see all our items, you need to re-import the inventory list. So if you want to change this filter, we're going to go back out to import, and we'll re-import our inventory pop-up window and choose open, and that resets our list here. Now you can see we have all the possible, everything the inventory list knows about. So again, just if you need to change it, instead of if you decide not to filter by department by something else, you have to remember to re-import there. So anyway, we've got department equals LIQ this time for liquor, and again, remember, hit update, and it'll change us to liquor down here. We'll hit close, preview our template one more time, and let's clear our transaction. And if we touch the promo button, we see all of our promo items. If we touch the office button, we see all of our office items, and we get a little bit of scroll we could do there. Bring up what's staples? Felt tip pen. We can go into software. Of course, there's our software items. We can touch the liquor button, and there's all our liquor items. So one last thing we can do here is notice all of our controls. They're all this blue color, promo, office, software. They all look exactly the same, and we can customize that too. So let's close this down and go back into the editor, and we'll go to our inventory pop-up window, and we said that we wanted to use that item template we created, that 2x1 key, for all our inventory items. We can also do some conditional templates on this that say, depending on what the item is, something about it. If the price is over $10, use a different template. So maybe your item's on sale and you want to use a sale template. In this case, let's just make a couple of the departments a different color. So to do that, let's open up our inventory item template, and we're just going to use this as a starting point. So first thing we'll do is save as and rename it. And let's call this office. And this is how we're going to display our office items. And we can really do kind of anything we want here. We can make the button itself a little smaller. The only thing you really don't want to do is resize the template at this point. There'd be a lot of weirdness associated with that. But any of the controls you want to change around here. So this is again a different inventory item, so we'll make it an entirely different color. I make a lot of changes to this. Well, we'll save that. So now if we go back into our inventory pop-up window, and with our DataView selected, we can go into the Data Controls menu, DataView Group, and choose Properties. And here's where we choose our conditional templates. We want to say if department equals off, we want to set a different template, and that template is going to be inventory item template office. So we're going to use our standard template, which is inventory item template for all our items, unless the department is office, and then we're going to use this item office template. So we'll choose add, and OK. And again, you can't see this change in the editor. You have to preview the template. So if we preview our template here, and I'm actually going to close that, I apologize. We have our initial row filter set to filter all those items off, so we really can't see much from this template. So let's save it, go into our 16x11, and launch it like we're supposed to. And now we'll see if we do promo, we have our blue items, but if we do office, we now have a bunch of green items on the list. So this is a way you can make the keys look different or call attention to certain keys. Again, if quantity on hand is getting low on a key, you could change the color to red. And that can, as your quantity on hand changes, if you export your, if you refresh your export.txt, these buttons will always be up to date. So if you update your prices or your inventory names or add or remove items or add departments or whatever, these templates will automatically update themselves. So I think that's about all we wanted to cover in this video. So as always, thanks for watching.